Hello, fifth graders. Oops, there we go. Okay, we're at lesson 15. We're at the second lesson, and it is on page 144. 144 and 145. So we are still looking at what a fraction less than 1 multiplied by a fraction less than 1 looks like, and trying to be able to get into our head that's going to create a fraction that's even smaller. So we have a number line now, and if you look at this number line, let me grab my pencil. We have the 0, we have 1, woo, not right on the line, and we have 2. So it says you can show 1/3 times 3/4. Remember, another way to say that is 1/3 of 3/4 on a number line. If you break up the 3/4 into 3 equal parts, you can show 1/4. So we have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, and 4/4 makes a 1. So this is divided into 3/4. Now I'm going to take that off, that writing. And now it says let's multiply 1/3 of 3/4. So I'm talking this part right here is 3/4. That right there shows this 3/4 that's right here. Now it says let's show one of the 3 sections, which would be this piece right there. So again, what you're seeing is that a fraction multiplied by a fraction is going to make it smaller, not larger. We're not doing whole numbers, we're doing fractions. So we know that a fraction multiplied by a fraction, 1/3 times 3/4 is 3/12. 3/12, which also simplifies to 1/4. If the product is less than, greater, is the product less than, greater than, or equal to 3/4, it's going to be less than 3/4 because our fraction was less than 1. If I multiplied 1 times 3/4, that would mean I had 3/4, but I don't. I had a fraction, I had a lesser, so it's going to be less. Okay, another number 9 to look at. Show 2/3. So again, let me get my pencil back. We have 3/4. That's 0 to the 3/4 line, right there. And that just show 2/3. 1/3, 2/3. So 2/3 times 3/4 is 6/12, which simplifies down to 1/2. Okay, is the product less than, greater than, or equal to 3/4? Well, it's less than, and we can see that because we haven't even made it all the way to the 3/4 marks. So it again is less than. Okay, you multiplied 3/4 by 2 different factors. We multiplied it by 1/3, then we multiplied it by 2/3. How do both factors relate to the number 1? So I'm going to turn that around and I'm going to say both factors relate to the number 1 because they are less than 1, period. Now that's the first part of my question. Let's look at the next one. What happens when you multiply a given fraction by a fraction less than 1? I think I'm just going to go down here. And I'm going to turn that sentence around. When you multiply a given fraction, because that's what it says in the sentence, by a factor less than 1, you will have a product less than the factor. Okay, so the given factor was 3/4. So when we multiply it by something less than 1, we're going to even get smaller. All right, next page. Let's talk about it. A number line can also see what's happening when a fraction is multiplied by a number greater than 1. So the last page was less than, this is greater. So shade the number line to show 4/3 of 3/4. So again, let me get my pencil and say, here's our 0 right here. Here's our 1 mark, and here's our 2 mark. That says we're looking at 3/4. That's our given fraction. So they've marked it right there, 3/4. But now we want to mark 4/3. So here's one, here's one, here's one, and here's one. Notice that I went past the 3/4, and that's because this fraction right here was bigger than a 1, greater than a 1. So the product is 12/12, which equals 1. Okay. Is the product lesser than, greater than, or equal to 3/4? It's greater than. Okay. Same thing down here on this next one. Everything is divided into fourths. We have our number line. We're divided into 3/4, and it says let's mark off 7 of the little parts that are divided. So there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it'd be all the way up here. So 7 3/4 is going to be greater. And it's just making sure that we understand that completely. So now we have an improper fraction, and I know that it's going to go in there 1 time, and I'm going to have 9 left, and I'm going to put that over the 12. Oops, I don't want it to look like 19. Let me put space. 1 9/12, which would also continue to simplify. I would have 1. I can divide both of those by 3, so I would have 3 4. Okay, so is it bigger than the product that we started with? Less than or equal to? Again, it's going to be greater. Greater than. Okay. Think about the answers. Think about how your answers compared to 3/4. What can you say about products of a given fraction and a factor greater than 1? They're going to come out greater than the factor. Okay. Try it another way. Right down here. Explore multiplying 3/4 by a fraction using an area model. The model to the right represents 3 out of 4. Show half of 3/4 using the area model. Half of 3/4 would be 3/8. So I'm going to get my pencil again. If I want to do half, can I just cut this in half? Wish I didn't have those little marks around it, but you get what I'm doing here, right there. So the answer is 3/8. I was looking for my back button, and I don't have a back button. Oh, sorry. So I can go down here. 3/8. Okay, half of the 3/4. You know what? I don't like this line right there. I'm going to delete that. Oh, good. That took it in. The model to the right represents 3/4. I need to show half of the 3/4. So what I really should have done on that one was said this is 1 and then half of this one. So all of this would get shaded in. That's 1/2 of the 3/4. That's better than drawing that line across there because that didn't really work right. So this would be the 1, and then I would still have some showing. So that would be 3x. Is the product greater than 3/4 or less? It's going to be less because this part, 1/2, is less than 1. So I know that our product is going to be less than. I know that our product is going to be less than the factor. Could you have answered problem number 10 without drawing a model? And hopefully at this point you're understanding that when we're doing a number that is less than 1, it's going to be less than the other factor. And if it's more than 1, it's going to be greater than. Okay, let's look at your guided practice. Why don't you go ahead and do your guided practice, all of them, and then you can come and check them. And then after that, we'll do the independent practice.